Hey everybody, it's Michael Carey with the One Good Reason. How are you all doing? It's Friday night, a little bit after 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm over at my friend Xavier's crib, and we're just kind of chilling. I figured I'd put on the red coat tonight, right? It's first day of December. We're getting into the Christmas season. But tonight's specific talk is actually going to be about something that's been kind of on my mind and kind of on Xavier's mind. He actually has a lot to say. But tonight's topic is on Satan, the devil, or you might know him, or her, or it, as Lucifer. So we're actually going to be talking about the story of Satan, the devil / Lucifer. So just going in really quick. I just want to kind of flip this around so you can see my boy here, Xavier. He's patiently waiting for him to jump into the ring. He gets there's a lot he wants to talk about. But just hold that thought. Don't let the devil get a hold of you. Let me bring it on back this way. So first things first, when we talk about Satan or the devil or Lucifer, we're talking about just when you're imagining it, right? When you're thinking about, when someone says this, you're thinking about maybe a red man. He's most likely naked, ponytail. He's got horns on his head, right? And he's just a really bad, wicked being, right? He's just super powerful, but he's not ultimately powerful, right? When it comes to his adversary, a God or Yahweh or the God of Abraham in Christianity. We're going to talk about Christianity specifically. I know there's devils and things of this nature and other versions of religion. But yeah, so you have this red naked man. He's just wicked. He's mad. He's just never in a good mood, and he just wants to ruin everything that's going on in your life, right? And he just wants to fuck up all types of shit with your loved ones and your friends, and your job, and any of your love interests or any of your hobbies. Just anything that he can do to make you make bad decisions and bring poison and turmoil and melancholy into your everyday existence, right? Who the fuck came up with this shit? But so when we look at the history of where this all comes from, you can get into some crazy specifics, like it wasn't never there was never a Satan with a capital S. There wasn't this super being. It was just called the Satan. The Satan was just anybody who was opposing, or anybody that was in the way, somebody that was hindering somebody else from doing something, especially if it was hindering somebody from doing something Christian. Right? They were called the Satan. And in fact, in the Bible, there were 5 human beings. I'll say it again. There were 5 human beings that are considered the Satan. And with the word "the" in front of it, just like Batman, right? The Satan. So it's like, hey, I was trying to go to church, and I got in my car, and Xavier jumped on the hood of my car, and he was like, no, you're not going to church. The football game's on right now. We're going to watch the football game, and we can go to church, in the evening or something like this. He would be considered the Satan of that situation. Now, obviously, this has evolved over time throughout the book. And now we get to this story where, Lucifer was an angel. He was one of, the God of Abraham's, right-hand people. He wanted to be like this creator, right? And I guess he wanted equal rights.
Yes.
He was the first entity to want equal rights. And, this God didn't like that and banishes him and says, you're not ever going to be like me. Fuck that. I'm sending your ass. I'm banishing you, taking you out of my kingdom. But I'm going to give you this kind of runner-up consolation prize, and you get to live in this fiery underworld, right? And you're just going to be pissed off all the fucking time. Now, when you think about it, I just want to get this out before I pass it over to X. When I think about it personally, this entity that's just sitting around waiting for, me to die or my friends to die. And, maybe we made X amount of bad decisions, and it was one too many that were just unforgivable. And we get sent into this lake of fire to melt and burn and choke and scream forever, right? And have our flesh melt off. And maybe even our flesh has to regrow again so we can begin burning once more, right? That's what this guy's doing down here. And he's raping you. He's omnipresent, right? So he's fucking you from the back and fucking you in the mouth and fucking in the ear, right? He's shish kebabbing your fucking skull through the ears, right? It's just all types of nasty things you don't want. There's all a bunch of scat on your chest. This is a nasty talk we're having tonight. But this guy is just doing all type of nasty things to these people. Now you're saying, well, fuck it. Who cares what he's doing to these motherfuckers, right? These are the bad motherfuckers that are down there doing all type of stuff, killing children, lighting dogs on fire. I'm just making up crazy stuff. I don't know, right? These people are doing all types of wicked things. So why the fuck do we care what's going on with these people? And I start saying to myself, well, if Satan is killing all the bad guys or torturing all the bad guys, wouldn't that kind of make Satan the good guy? Don't we want him to do those things, right? If you're going to follow that story, you kind of want him to do those things? But I guess the idea is that you don't want him to get on your back and start manipulating you to have you do these bad things, right? So that's a little strange to me. I also look at it like, okay, so we have this bad guy who's doing bad things to bad people. He had no choice in existing the way that he did. It's kind of like a scientist creating anthrax, right? And he just is what he is. But then I also look at it like, man, I have a daughter, right? She's 2 years old. And this is what really was profound to me when I was on my drive over here. I was thinking about this. I have a daughter that's 2 years old. If she were to disobey me or do something that just completely made me upset, and let's say I had a basement, would I whip her up and throw her down in the basement and lock her down there in the darkness for all eternity or until she expired because she wanted to be like me, she wanted equal rights or something like this? I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. You would think, well, man, she's 2 years old. Maybe after 15 minutes in timeout, 15 minutes probably feel like 15 days to her, right? Because her attention span, or however you want to think about it. Eventually, the lesson would be learned, right? You would teach a lesson. They would learn from the lesson. And then they would have an opportunity to behave differently or try again, right? That's not the case with this guy. This thing is pretty much locked down in the basement. And, there's nothing that this entity, per the story, can do that, is outside of this God's power. So what's also crazy is that, when bad things happen, there's a shooting that happens in a theater or in a school, for instance. I know Xavier wants to get into that. There was on a serious note, there was a shooting here in Tampa, Florida. But when these type of things happen, people are quick to say that, regular guy was, just living his life. He's like a vehicle, and all of a sudden this wicked spirit takes the form or, hijacks the body and has them, chop up people or shoot them down or do whatever the fuck that they're going to do that's nasty and wicked. And then he leaves the body, and then this person is, made to suffer in man's law and man's court and all these type of things. So they go to jail, the electric chair, or whatever it is. And, Satan, the Lucifer, the devil, just moves on to the next person to, manipulate them. That kind of gets me down a little bit because it's kind of like, I don't know how often you can continue to do nasty, terrible, nefarious things to your fellow human beings, and look someone dead in the eyes and say, I just wasn't myself. You know how that devil thing's going around, and I got a little case of the devil. There's no cure for it. So when it happens, I hope it doesn't happen to you, but I'm in jail right now. So you guys can forgive me, right? My God's going to forgive me. And, all that wicked stuff that happened, I'm actually going to be on the big trampoline or, in the big fields running and pulling kites, right? After I pass away. So it's kind of like, we're not going to get down on this person, these Ted Bundys, Jeffrey Dahmers, or any of these Son of Sams, or Charles Mansons, and these types of people. We're not going to get down on them. We're not going to be hard on them because, after all, the devil was the battery in their back, pushing them along to carry out whatever acts. And I think that's a big old cop-out. I think that we obviously know that you did what you did, right? It was you. It was your brain operating the way that it did that led you to do the actions that you did. Whether your frontal lobe is a little bit enlarged and you're very emotional, or whatever else is going on in your brain. Now, we can get into an argument or a debate over was your brain operating within optimal range, right? I don't want to say regularly or normally, but I want to say within optimal range with what we can agree to be acceptable, right? Maybe you leave the toilet seat up and you drink out of the milk in the gallon, but you're not a wicked person, right? Is your brain operating to the general standard that we've come to accept as normal, right? Or do you have some kind of mental illness to where you need to be medicated, right? But that's never the topic. That's never the conversation. It's never, hey, this person walked in from working, and his daughter was being raped by the neighbor, and he shot that guy in the back of the head, and then there was somebody else in the parking lot sitting in the car. He ran out there and shot them, and then somebody else thought he was just a crazy dude and then took him out. Or they're just like, oh man, this was a crazy guy. It's like, no, the situation caused him to react emotionally. And then if you want to add on this extra bit saying, oh, and the reason why he reacted emotionally was because of this naked red man that's below our feet, and he's just dancing around in his fire waiting for things like this to happen or causing these things to happen. That's kind of ridiculous. It's like, let's talk about the issue. Let's talk about the facts. What has this person been through? How is the daughter doing? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about why is this person breaking into someone's house to rape them to begin with? It's complicated and it's complex. For you to just say, okay, yeah, I know all the details, but put off that to the side. Let's talk about the devil. It's like you get to be excused from the conversation while we work on the problem. But I want to go ahead and pass this off to Xavier so you can get into some specifics.
No, I totally agree what you were saying about that. It's all about accountability, okay? It's all about taking responsible for your actions. And I think if we just going to shoo out, the host, per se, and say that it's a spirit that made you do it, then that person who done all of those horrible things to these people, or killing people, murdering, raping people, does not take responsibility. If it's the devil, then let that boy, let that man, let that child molester, whoever, let that serial killer go.
Wow.
Let them go. If the devil made you do it. For me, it's taking responsibility for your actions. Now, for people to blame a fictional public figure is not fair. I can't, blame, my parents for mistakes. I can't blame, my teacher for not teaching me, the way that she can. I can't blame, other people, or I have to take responsibility of myself and my actions. And I think that's what it's all boiled down to me when it comes to people saying that there's a spirit or the devil that makes you done something evil and wicked. It's not fair. It's not fair. And I think the family will agree. If we were to go to trial, and let's talk about OJ. Let's talk about juice a little bit, okay? So, some devil juice. Okay, OJ was on trial, for allegedly murdering his wife, which he, got off about. So he was claimed victory that he did not, murder his. But let's say that OJ admitted that he murdered his wife and her friend. And he said, well, the devil made me do it. The devil got into me and forced this anger into me to murder my children. Now, how would that work in the court system? How would you think that would work, Mike?
Well, it's, okay, first off, look at Son of Sam, right? Son of Sam had a similar approach in the court system after the wicked things that he fucking did, right? He killed some random people. They did nothing to him, as far as we know, and as far as he said. He just woke up. You can look up the history of the Son of Sam killer. But yeah, he woke up, he went outside. The first couple people he saw, he fucking killed them. And I think there was a couple. I'm not 100% on the detail of this. Again, fact check me, look it up. But I think the details were that there was a couple making out in their car. Right, they were parked. They were making out. I don't know if they were just got in the car. They've been there a while. I don't know. They're making out, and he walked up and just gunned them down through the window and just fucking killed them. Right. So why do I mention all that? Well, he's in the courtroom. They say, hey, why the fuck did you kill this young couple? They were just making out. What drove you to be so angry at these people? Did they cut you off in traffic? He said, no, it wasn't any of that. I woke up and my dog told me to do it. And I think the devil was in my dog, and he was talking to me. I heard my dog's voice, and I was so amazed that this dog's talking to me. But the dog wasn't barking. I could just read its mind. It was telling me to go out and kill these people because these people were wicked. So I was doing the God's work. And so that was kind of confusing to me. It's like, well, if you're doing the God's work by taking out these wicked people, then why are you talking about the devil being in the dog? But to get back to Xavier's question, how would that hold up in court? Well, that dude didn't get fucking off, did he? We didn't all just throw our hands up and say, oh, put the dog down. We didn't do that. And we definitely didn't let his ass go, right? So, I mean, if that's the stance that you're going to take, if you're ever going to fucking sit in front of me and say these wicked things happen because the devil did it, well, you're advocating for that person to be let go. And if you can't admit that to my face or to anyone else's face, then shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. You're disrespecting the families. You're disrespecting the friends. You're disrespecting anybody that was taken out by violence because of some manipulating force that you can't demonstrate to exist. I don't mean to be hard on you, but this part is pretty tough love here. We can make choices, right? Are our choices determined? I don't know. When you go to the grocery store, you don't choose what options are going to be on the shelves, right? But you tell yourself that you have a choice of what to choose of those options, right? So it's a mix between your free will and what's determined, right? If that's the case, and you're able to choose what you're going to do, whether you're the one thinking your next idea or if it's popping into your head like a lotto ball, you don't get to just say that an outside force is puppeteering you. If that's your claim, then we're all ears, and we want to hear how you came to that conclusion. I just remember growing up, and a lot of my friends were scared to do most anything. They half the time their excuse is like, oh, I don't want to lie to my parents. And I'm like, but why? It's their birthday. We're getting them a gift. We don't want them to know what we're doing out here. We're making some arts and crafts. If they come and ask, just say that we're doing homework or something. It's like, no, I can't lie. If they come out here and say, what are you doing? I'm just going to tell them I'm making birthday gifts for them. I'm like, well, don't fucking ruin it. Why are you so worried about lying? It's like, why, that's the devil. That's the devil getting in us and making us do that. I'm like, no, it's an innocent thing. They're going to be happy about the fucking surprise, you idiot. And I don't hang out with that motherfucker anymore. But I was a lot younger at that time. I'm a little bit older now, and I can have rational conversations with people. But if you're going to hold yourself back from doing anything because you feel like it's the devil taking you over, if your boss, I don't know, I don't mean to pull this card or anything, okay? Because we're black people, but if your boss says something racist to you in the office, you shouldn't just be like, well, the devil made them do that. They're not really a racist. It just kind of jumped in their vehicle, had them say a few words because the devil wants me to get riled up, and then I'm going to lose my job. No, that person needs to be confronted, and they need to be taken through the necessary process. And if it is true, and you're not just pulling it out of context, and they actually did say something racist and you have evidence, then they should be removed from the workplace. You don't get to just backslide into this backwards thinking, saying that everything bad that's happening is because the devil allows it. By that same fucking argument, I have to say, well, who allows the devil? It's kind of you don't get to say, well, the devil has a permission slip to do this. Well, who signed the permission slip? Yeah. I mean, if that's your argument. Now that's low hanging fruit. That's an easy fucking argument to crush. I want to take it on a deeper level and say, where do you get the idea of the devil? Who told you about this stuff? Who told you about Lucifer or Satan or any of this? Who told you about this? Think about it. Who told you? If you say, well, this book told me about this, and it's like, well, how do you know that the book is correct? And it's like, okay, so let's say that there is no devil and there is no wickedness being pushed and forced upon us by some outside force. Okay, now we're on the same page. And if you say, well, where does all the evil and all the wickedness come from? Well, we have a couple of explanations. We don't know everything. We have to be humble. We have to investigate. We have to, we have to take our time, and we have to be okay with saying we don't know. But we're working on the problem. Religion hasn't worked on the problem. Religion just says it's there. Your God put it there. Your God is omniscient, knows what's going to happen before it does, and lets it take place. You either have to say that your God is not all powerful, or is indifferent and doesn't give a fuck of what's happening. That's the position that you put yourself in, and I hate to really be in your face about this, but I've made bad choices. I've made good choices. What happens to my free will if the good choices I'm making are because of a God, and the bad choices I'm making are because of a devil? It's like, well, what's the fucking purpose of my existence within this religion? What's the purpose of my existence within atheism is that we don't have a purpose, and that we make our purpose. Do you have anything else to say about living your everyday life and constantly worrying or thinking I'm speeding right now, I'm going 5 over the limit because the devil's in the car and he's taking the wheel?
Well, you know what, Mike? I thought about this because something that you touched on, I would like to go back to. Saying that, let's say that, okay, we both agree that the devil made us do it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say we agree that is true. Okay, the devil made me do this, okay, right? The devil made me kill this family out of cold blood, right? Wow. Well, who's allowing the devil to do this?
Right.
The devil must be good in a sense, because the devil probably, I guess, have free will to kill and murder these people and then to leave the host. Why can't an outside entity stop the devil from killing? What is the purpose of these innocent people being murdered?
Right, and again, I always advocate that there is no purpose and that we choose our purpose, right? Like a bag clip. A bag clip is just a pincer, right? A bag clip is just a plastic pincer. It's an invention that we use to bind things together, right? Whether it's a tie clip or a potato chip bag that we're wanting to close, right? If there were no potato chips, the clip wouldn't cease to have purpose. We could use it to hold CDs or just be silly and put it on my tongue, and that makes you laugh, so that's the purpose, and we get to use it for whatever we want. It's infinite purpose as far as our minds can think of. The different ways we can manipulate this pincer, right? That's my position on purpose. Now, in religion, purpose is put in you, right? Like, think about North Korea, or I'll use another example. Think about, if when you were born, your family's purpose was to be street sweepers, right? Or your family's purpose was to be elevator operators, right? You would be pissed. You wouldn't want to have some fucking assigned purpose that your children's children would be these elevator operators. And the family name is purposed to do this one specific task, right? That sounds fucked up. It sounds kind of like fascism, right? Nobody wants that. It's totalitarianism, right? You don't want that. But in religion, people look up to the idea that you have a purpose, that there's some plan for you. Someone's planned it out for you. Mm-hmm. Now, hold that thought. If that's the case and we're in Christianity, we're putting on our purpose hats, and we're just waiting to be told what to do, right? Whether we in this life or after we pass away, right? I'm going to grant you that for the purpose of this talk. What is the purpose of Satan's existence? And who is the dealer of purpose in your religion? Who's dealing out the purpose? You don't get to have it both ways. If your God is the one dealing the purpose, then your God gave the purpose of the devil to do the wicked things that led this person to kill these people. You have to follow the fucking breadcrumbs. That's how logic works. That's how fucking logic works. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, I don't agree with any of that, and I want to talk to the human beings on a person-to-person basis and look at the psyche of that person. Whether they have a good reason, right? This person's raping my daughter, and I had to kill him to stop him because he tried to kill me when I tried to pull him off, and I just was in this freak accident where I had to extinguish his life to save my daughter, and I have this guilty conscience of killing somebody. Or I have a chemical imbalance in my brain that hasn't been diagnosed, and I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing until someone sits down and talks with me using, the work of psychology and science to make sense of this. That's the level that I'm on. If you don't want to have any participation in that development, in those breakthroughs in modern science, then yeah, we can sit back and just let all the killers and rapists and molesters free because the devil's making them do it, just like Xavier said. I mean, I never even thought about that. Just why not let everybody go if the devil's making them do it?
Exactly.
You know, deep down, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to fucking say on the topic.
It's not an easy thing to really to talk about, but it has to be talked. We have to have a conversation about this, because if my family got murdered, you know, I'm not gonna. And somebody said the devil made him do it. Then that innocent person need to be set free. Then I shouldn't have no type of animosity. I shouldn't be angry at the person who killed my family. Wow. That's spitting on my face. That's disrespectful to say. I think that people need to take responsibility of their actions, and we need to hold people accountable for their actions.
What about the I just want to say this last thing. Actually, it just kind of popped into my head.
Yeah.
What about when people say that stupid ass saying where the greatest trick that the devil ever performed, or the devil ever told, was that he didn't exist? It's like, well, how do you demonstrate that the devil told that lie? How do you know it's a lie? I mean, it's like you want it to be real. You want it to be true. Why do people want a devil? Now, obviously, a Christian's going to say, well, we don't want a devil. We didn't make it up. The book has it in there. It's like, well, who wrote the book? And it just goes back to the fucking beginning where we started. Who's the dealer of purpose? What was the purpose of putting the devil in the book? And it's like, well, if we don't suffer, then we can't repent, and we can't live up to the glory of this God. And it's like, okay, that's nice, but let's get back to this wicked stuff, and who's causing it, and who's pushing the buttons, Wizard of Oz type shit. But
who's behind the curtain?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call this a night here. It's Mike Carey with The One Good Reason. We're talking live in Heathrow, Florida. Catch us on the next Tiger Talk. It's getting closer to Christmas. We're usually on Friday around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is Xavier Hayes. If you wanted to say something.
Good night.
And don't let the devil do it.
Don't.